Let's have a bit of that. 3-0. We've won a game of football at St James's.
Get the badge in.
Get the badge in. Get that badge in.
Can't see it. Carl only turned up when we win, didn't we?
It just felt like...
Last time we won a game of football here at St James's Park, it finished Newcastle United 3, Fulham 0. It's finished here, Newcastle United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, and this is the last word. Couple of changes from the team that played against Blackburn, subtle changes, but in terms of the last Premier League game, again there was a couple of changes, but Jacob Murphy and Dan Bernstein were kind of the big talking points, because we didn't really, I don't think many people expect to see Jacob Murphy start, especially after his performance against Blackburn. Dan Burn, 50-50, and probably even Joe Willock starting was his first Premier League start since returning from injury. Again, what did you make of the team selection before the event?
Yeah, I thought you, but didn't I, in the Gallagher before the game, that it's a bit surprised Murphy, because I thought Almiron, ironically, was actually bright midweek. The Dan Burn one, I think Eddie has his favourite back four, unfortunately. And despite, I know we'll probably talk about Tino later, but I think he has his back four set. The Willock one I'm really happy about, because he's getting minutes and he just makes so much difference in that midfield, because a couple of great through passes today, and obviously his work rate by bringing the ball forward. He brings the ball forward, and the nearest person that we've got to that in midfield is Joe Linton, who's out injured. But overall, yeah, happy. But it makes sense for them substitutions to come off later.
Wolves made changes after beating Brighton in the FA Cup there through at the quarter-final. No, they didn't get Manchester City. We did. We wanted that one.
Was anyone else surprised?
No. Wolves got a nice little Midlands derby against Coventry, which I'm sure will be really nice for them when they probably go to Wembley in a couple of weeks' time. But it's not. I'm not going to say it's a case of Pedro Neto FC with Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're a very, very good outfit, and they've done some fantastic stuff this season. But he is their main threat, and it was a case by the end of the 90 minutes of Pedro Neto.
Yeah, it was. It was. We were really, really resolute at the back today, which is what we needed after, we weren't very good against Blackburn, and obviously it is Arsenal, but we just capitulated against them. So once we kind of nullified that, they didn't really have anything at all, did they? I mean, they were still pushing forward, but I was just saying when I just did my little video there, I wasn't really threatened by them at all, to be honest. Especially after the first half, they had a good spell for 15-20 minutes, but wasn't worried at all, mate.
No, it was a great start for Newcastle, really fast out the blocks, if I'm being honest. And Joe Willock, I thought he was instrumental in that first 15-20 minutes. As soon as he got the ball up, right, let's go forward. So just taking my time.
Simple, isn't it? Yeah. But it's effective. Because I've said this, the two Geordie lads in midfield don't do that. They're not runners with the ball, and Willock just makes so much difference. And I think there was a bit more protection for Dan Burn today, because you're up against Neto, who is absolutely probably one of the most underrated wingers in the league. I think we were quite lucky that he came off at half time, but yeah, it was good to see Willock back, and I think he'll bring more towards the end of the season.
I slightly disagree with the Anthony Gordon point of things. I do think he does his fair share of defending.
I don't think he does enough though, because if you look at the right hand side, I think Miggy and Murphy track back more than what Gordon does.
Maybe, we'll see. Let us know in the comments.
On the flip side, Gordon offers you more going forward, so it's a case of good versus evil, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly, and he does. He's instrumental to a lot of things going forward for Newcastle United. And Carl, I love the Isak, Willock, Gordon link up partnership, what I call it, whatever you like, the trio, the fantastic trio, if you like. But it was a bit of Anthony Gordon to a bit of Bruno to a bit of Isak putting the ball in the back of the net. But it was basically counter-attacking football at its finest for Newcastle United, and it was an absolute treat with Isak scoring close range.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Willock really proved how much we've missed him, hasn't he, to be honest? Like you've mentioned, Lewis Miley has done absolutely fantastically. He's not put a foot wrong, but we've missed that attacking prowess of Joe Willock, that drive that he's got to move forward. And I'm sure Lewis Miley will develop over time, but that's not really his game, is it? Lewis Miley tries to mop things up and play some balls through, but we just missed the engine of Joe Willock. And I don't necessarily agree that Anthony Gordon doesn't track back enough, but I agree with Lee that Joe Willock definitely fills a gap that does help out Dan Burn a little bit more, 100%.
He's got the legs, hasn't he?
Absolutely, we just missed that engine, haven't we? I
think at home you can get away with it a bit more with Gordon not doing that as much, so probably I'm being a little bit harsh, but you can get away with it more at home.
Yeah. All three of them were absolutely fantastic today, loads of energy. Isak looked almost, back to his original form, which is something that, we need it consistently, don't we?
He's so sharp, but his goals to games ratio, I think he's pretty much 1 and 2 in the Premier League over the last 2 seasons. I know there's a few penalties there, but a goal is a goal, as they say. Lee, I think if there was questions about whether Jacob Murphy starting was the right decision, I disagree with Eddie Howe at 2 o'clock when I found out the team news. I didn't think it was the right decision, especially after the game against Blackburn. But a fantastic cross, and I don't think the keeper does very, very well, I have to be honest. I think the keeper should be really getting that. If he's diving, he's got to either push it away into a more dangerous position or at least grab a hold of the ball. But Isak does what most good strikers do, get into that situation, cause a little bit of bother, and it rolls out to Anthony Gordon and puts in an empty net. But 2-0, wouldn't say it's against the run of play, but a couple of passes and Newcastle back into it. Again, another goal where it's counter-attacking football at its finest.
Yeah, and I think he got injured, didn't he, after that, because he was subbed at half-time, which is a shame for them because I think he's one of their better players, but just got to be in there when there's that second ball in it, and that second ball comes loose, right, okay, where's your wingers, where's your forward, and thankfully Anthony Gordon is in the box, and don't put it past him to get double figures this season because he's on the way, isn't he? So you just got to be in the right place. I think we thoroughly deserved to go 2-0 up. I thought, especially first half, and you've got to consider the team that are coming here are in form. And it's not a Man United, it's not a Liverpool, it's not a big boy, but the job that Gary Neal's done is fantastic, and they're going.
Pressure today, so much pressure. Like, how we not have got a result? We'd have comfortably been 11th today, comfortably. So we needed to win. It was a massive game.
We stop spoiling the second bit of the way you get the top of the table.
Sorry.
Do you know what it is?
Edit it in.
But it's against a rival now, and it's mad to say that Wolves how good they.
Is Wolves a rival to Newcastle?
Yes, because they're up for European places, so they have to be considered before kick-off today that they're up, and obviously we've leapfrogged them, but they're going to be there or thereabouts because that congestion, it's like going down the A1. That congestion between 7th and 12th is anybody can move up and down there, so it's a great morale boost and win, but we thoroughly deserved. I'll go back to the goal. That 2-0, we deserved that, and yes, you might say it's a goalkeeping error, but to go 2-0 up, you'll probably say, you know what, we deserve that.
We did. I thought we were well worth the 2-0, and Wolves were really struggling how to cope with that attacking threat. And even Dan Burn had a chance in the box where he finds a little bit of space. Great to see him.
Nosebleed, wasn't it? It was a nosebleed moment. It's like, oh, what am I doing here?
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't blame him having the shot in the box. I'll be doing exactly the same thing. Maybe not my left foot, but that's another story. Carl, the closest that Wolves really got to was a couple of headers where they were over the crossbar. Dubravka was pretty comfortable with them. And that's great to see the defence kind of getting back to where there was. And there was a couple of little moments in the first half where the ball was given away, but it kept Wolves really, really quiet, which was a big tick for the defence. Yeah,
like I said, mate, it was just something that we really need. This is a massive confidence boost today. Wolves are not a bad side at all. We're in form. Defensive, obviously, didn't play very well against Blackburn. Didn't play very well against Arsenal at all. And people can say, "Oh, it's Arsenal," but like I said, we just sat down and let them do what they wanted to. So today was massive for Dan Burn. Then Tino Livramento got the opportunity to come on and do bits as well. So for all five of them, actually, it was a really, really good game, and we needed it, mate. Needed it.
Yeah, certainly. Second half, I thought the second half is what I would call a professional job. I know some people probably call it all the way through the game. It was a professional job, but slowed the game down. Only really had to do things when necessary. I thought Wolves had a good 10 minutes in the second half.
I think losing Neto was a big thing because I think they brought on that guy, I don't know his name, apologies, put him up front and he didn't offer an out.
No, I thought Botman and Sheriff, obviously Botman in particular, there was question marks, why was he not involved against Blackburn, but Eddie Howe was justified with that decision. He was justified with a lot of decisions today. Kieran Trippier coming off. Precaution, you'd like to think. I think, look, it didn't seem like, it seemed like a muscle more than anything, a muscle injury, but we'll talk about the replacement in a second, but just briefly on Trippier. Not great to see, but you hope it's just precaution.
He knew, didn't he, straight away? He just kicked the ball and thought, oh, that's me done. But what a replacement, as you say. It's not like we're going way down as in strength, because I think Livramento was on the way up. I think his trajectory is going to go that way. But just hope it's just a niggle, that's all, and we should be all right, because Trippier will probably, he's one of those players that will play through the pain barrier, so I expect Trippier. But having said that, though, it's a question for Eddie Howe, because Livramento's come in, but you would think Trippier would probably start even next week with the niggle. I think he'll get over it, but it's a great dilemma to have, because then that substitute that came on was outstanding.
Yeah, he certainly was. We'll touch about Tino Livramento in a second. Chelsea is 9 days away, so there's a little bit of a break between that game and this game, which obviously Trippier, I think the old team will probably get maybe 2 or 3 days, maybe an extra day's rest, just because of the amount of football that they've had to deal with. But the best that Wolves had before, we'll talk about Tino Livramento, I'll give you so much time to talk about, and was a shot from distance where Martin Dubravka got his wages worked, and he's done exceptionally well this week. He was man of the match by a country mile on Tuesday and justified another good performance, a clean sheet, which I'm sure you've been delighted with, but that was probably the best he really got for Wolves.
Yeah, I think there was a header as well that he's managed to save with two hands mid-air as well. Look, I put a short out, a month or so ago, absolutely blasting Martin Dubravka. I'm happy that I've been proven wrong. He's been absolutely fantastic since he stepped in, to be honest. I think he's had one bad game, and that was probably the first game that he come in. Like you say, against Blackburn and today, he's just been absolutely immense. Fair play to him. I am actually happy, you know. I mean, at the time when I blasted him, I thought, we've got to go out and get David De Gea, but I've always been a massive fan of Martin Dubravka, and today was fantastic, mate, fantastic.
Talk about Tino Livramento. Defensively outstanding, reads the game incredibly well. And talk about the goal call. Fabian Schär sees that Tino's off. He's got the fresh legs, ain't no, he's thinking, fuck's sake, not this. And he goes into the box, goes past one or two, and then slots it past the oncoming Bentley. What a moment for Tino Livramento.
It really was. I think that kid has, and I've said this time and time again, but he keeps proving us right. And I know people say that we're a little bit biased, and I genuinely think he's got the potential to be the best fullback in the league. It's certainly the best English fullback. That kid is absolutely amazing, and he's going to prove, if he has to replace Kieran Trippier, I'm happy for that 100%. I know he's been playing at left back and interchange with Dan Burn, but it doesn't matter where he plays. Like, I think the main thing is how well he reads the game, like you said, especially at such a young age. I wish he was starting personally. I love Dan Burn. I just want Tino Livramento to be. Honestly, he's one of the first names on the team sheet for me. He's unbelievable, really is.
Tino Livramento fan clubs is getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. But talk about that goal from your perspective. It's just what you want to see from your right back, isn't it? To get in that sort of positions. I know he's fresh and I know he's got the legs, but yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it?
Kieran Trippier can't do that. Kieran Trippier has got different qualities. He hasn't got the legs, Trippier, where his delivery is absolutely top notch.
World class, you'd say. Yeah,
his delivery, but Livramento's different. He's athletic, isn't he? So, and he's got a good thing about Livramento. He's got really, really close control with the ball, and a couple of times that gets him out of defensive situations where he actually takes on. It looks like he's taking on the attacker, but he's defending. He's really clever.
You know who he reminds me of? When he was playing at fullback before he moved out onto the wing, Gareth Bale. Genuinely. When Gareth Bale started off at fullback, and I think it was against Chelsea. Was it against Chelsea where he got knocked out and he's absolutely just burnt whoever it was? Like
in Milan, I think.
Was it Milan? But Tino Livramento reminds me of that all the. He's got it about him to do that all the time, and when he's got the ball, you can see people just cheering him to like try and take people off from fullback because he knows he's going to blast them for pace. He's so good, so good.
He is. I can echo both Lee and Carlos saying I think he was absolutely outstanding. I actually think, we'll mention man of the match later, but he's going to be a candidate for how good he was in that 30-35 minutes that he was on. But Eddie Howe was talking about the fact that he wants a home win sooner rather than later. It's 2 wins in a week for Eddie Howe. Eddie, tell me all about this fantastic victory this afternoon.
Delighted, absolutely delighted. I think we're well aware that you can't go too long here without winning at home. And our home form's been so strong for a long, long period of time. You go back to our season we stayed in the Premier League, battling relegation, to last year finishing fourth. I think we never really lost that momentum. So this was the first time that we were sort of searching at home for 3 points, and we're delighted to get it. Counter-attack, really pleased with Anthony's part in that and Bruno's part in that, the desire to get forward and to try and impact the goal. And of course Alex gets the reward with the final touch, but I thought it was a really good team move and we needed it at that stage of the game. We're under a little bit of pressure early in the game, but that was a big moment. Our only disappointment this year is that we haven't had him for the fit and available for all the games, because he is a match winner. He is capable of doing a little bit of everything in that role. He also can drift positions. He's technically excellent.
Ecstatic Eddie Howe talking about a 3-0 win, progressing through at the FA Cup quarter-finals, which we'll mention briefly as well. Just before we go on about the Premier League table, big shout out to the Wolves fan that travelled and did pretty much a 200-mile walk.
Oh, I've seen this last week. I credit him.
200-mile walk from Tuesday from Molineux to St James's Park. Fair play to him. He's raised so much money as well. The name escapes me off the top of my head, but it'll be on screen. So big shout out to him, and I hope they've raised a lot of money. I hope he was okay with the steps up to level 7, but
It's not what you need after 200 miles, is it?
Breeze, walking the St James's Park
Big
from.
shout out to War Flags as well for that banner, by the way.
Yeah.
Beautiful, that blue banner. I haven't seen the front of it, so I'm looking forward to the pictures tonight.
Brothers in Arms.
Brothers in Arms, I've seen that behind it, but I like to see it from the other side when I get in tonight, so big shout out, brilliant banner that.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Now this is your updated Premier League table. Ta-da! Brentford 2, Chelsea 2, Everton 1, West Ham 3, Fulham 3, Brighton 0 or Brighton 1, something like that. Spurs beat Crystal Palace by 3-1.
Your memory is ridiculous. You'd think he's got a teleprompter. He actually hasn't. It's just right off the dome.
He normally mentions an evening game, which I always got to cut out all the time.
I know. Newcastle, of course, have won, and Nottingham Forest nearly got a point. Liverpool scored in the 100th minute. Yes, the 100th minute. I'll let you deliberate that in the comments. The evening game is Luton versus Aston Villa, which I don't know the score of, but he does. He's magic. The table looks a little bit more bright. We're 8th in the table. West Ham are just above us by a point, but it's just going to be a little bit of a battle now, isn't it? Like 6 is probably the highest we can generally finish. We're only 6 points off Manchester United. I think 6 or 7 points off Manchester United. So if they get beat off City tomorrow, to expect, you kind of bring them back into it. But let's just see how we get on, isn't it? It's one game at a time, isn't it?
We need a run. Can't use the injuries excuses anymore, because there's only 3 or 4 that are out now. Eddie Howe's already said in his presser that he's got over 20 players to select. Can't use that excuse now. We've got 1 game a week. We've got now a 9-day gap for the next one, which is a shocking Monday Night Football in London, but that's another matter for another day. But look, it's what?
Shocking Monday Night Football. Who do you work for again?
No, but it's 4 people I have to agree with. 4 companies. That's the club, both clubs, the TV and the Premier League. So it's not
the police.
It's not good on obviously the Newcastle fans. Do you know what I mean? But
I think there's 5 people. I think there's a guy called Lee Lawler that has to agree on it as well. So when you see Newcastle playing on a Monday night,
yeah, it's me. Johnny always has this joke. It's my fault. But no, but look at this to say we can't have excuses anymore. Yes, I know Pope's out. Yes, I know there's 1 or 2 that'll start naturally, but you've almost got 3/4 of your squad back now, and I think we need to go on and run. Nobody, as I said this last week, nobody in that section between 7th and 12th wants to go on and run. You've seen Wolves do it. Wolves have creeped up. Anybody else can do it. If Newcastle go on a 7 or 8 game unbeaten run, it'll get them into Europe, I think. So we've got to just have consistency now. And I think the biggest thing I said off camera to you today, yes, you talk about individual performances and what have you, but it's that clean sheet. That's the biggest thing today, because we're shipping in goals. And when was the last time we kept a clean sheet in the league? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Fulham.
Was that in the league? I can't remember that. So I'm in every game. I can't even remember that. Do you know what I mean?
You can never remember any game. After every game we do a last word, you'll notice this now. You'll go, I can't remember that. Can't remember that. Like,
kind of because I'm in the women's the morning. I'll be like, people going to work and goes, what did you do on Saturday? I've got to think. It never happened to me all day. I'm thinking, what did I do on Saturday? Oh, I was at the game, wasn't I? So, but what I'm trying to say is the clean sheet, the most thing I'll take from today. I don't know about you two, but that for me is the big thing.
Yeah, 100%. Carl, just briefly, let's talk about the FA Cup draw.
Can we just, before we do that, Bruno Guimaraes is
magic. He wears a magic hat.
My humble, biased opinion, top 3 midfielders in the Premier League. He's disgusting.
He's an exceptional talent. Man of the match performance for me. Livramento plays 90 minutes. He probably gets it for anybody out there in the comments. But yeah, Bruno outstanding for me. But FA Cup draw night.
I didn't even watch it because I just thought, as soon as you all put in Man City, it's just one of them, isn't it? You just expect, especially after this season, the way the season's gone. Is it
a case of we can't lose because it's a lose-lose situation, isn't it? Because we're not expected to win. There's no replay, so we can't take them back to St James's Park. However, anything can happen in the Cup. We're going to beat Man City before in the Cup. Anything can happen.
Absolutely, and we've already beaten them. I'd rather play them now than in the final, to be honest. I would. I think if we beat them now, just gives us a huge confidence to push on in the rest. Because then, really, you look at what Liverpool left. Realistically, that's probably the only decent
one of Man United or Liverpool. Yeah,
no, Man United are shite, aren't they? To be fair, so Liverpool and Manchester City, you beat Manchester City, especially where they are now, and Haaland back as well, and you do that at the Etihad. That's a massive statement. I think you're probably expected to go on and win it. To be honest, if we beat them, I do. Liverpool are missing players, so Massive opportunity, like you said. The pressure's on them more than it is us. So that will probably play into our hands, mate. We'll probably go and beat them 3-1 now.
Just finally, me and Carl have pretty much described Bruno's man of the match. Is he your man of the match today?
Just on that as well, we could take some extra time and penalties in there. So, but I just want to touch upon that. Your point before I say that is that it takes the pressure off Eddie Howe a bit. Yeah. Because if you got somebody else, we were expecting to get through to that. You'll have the outside noise come back in again. I think Manchester City takes the pressure off because we're expected to go out. So, man of the match. There's a few Livramento I want to touch upon. I think the defence looked a lot more solid today. Willock was great at covering as well, but I've got to go Bruno as well. I think not just that, he was back to the old shit house where you come on, getting the crowd up again, and we need to see more of this, and kicking the ball away, little slide things, and moving the ball 1 yard forward when you shouldn't, and little things like that. So, but it's not just that, the pressure. I think Wolves couldn't handle him today, and he's not like a wow world class performance, but I think he dictated a lot of it today. So I'm going to say Bruno.
Nice and simple. Bruno Guimaraes gets our man of the match. Tell us if you agree or not in the comments, because you're watching this on magnificent 4K. So you lucky people.
You can see how much weight Carl's lost in 4K now.
Oh, thank you.
He's lost a good 2 stone.
I wish. We're getting there. We'll be there soon.
For the members, keep your members videos. If you're not a member, you can see Carl's journey.
99 pence to be a member, isn't it?
Now that is it. I mean, what can you buy for under £1 these days?
Absolutely nothing.
So aren't you lucky? Lee's going to be at Stoke tomorrow, and so is Joe, because that's Newcastle United women's next game. They've got 7 league games left, and the cup final against #United on the 23rd of March, which is 3 weeks today on the international break. So come on, support the lasses. They'll go into this game as favourites. I know it's a cup final, but they'll go into this game as favourites. Becky Langley's side is on for the league and cup double. So all the videos will be coming out for Stoke versus Newcastle. All the latest updates will be on our Facebook page, Twitter page, and everywhere else, as you can imagine. But yeah, this is where we're going to wrap the video up. It's a 9-day break in terms of the men's side of things. It's Chelsea a week on Monday. He's going to be there as well.
Is anyone else from the channel there? Is it just me?
Just you. Harry?
Harry might. I know Mike's there.
Yeah. So make sure you watch those videos as well. But from the 3 happy Newcastle United fans in the whole world.
I thought you were going to say Scrooges or something.
No. Look, 3 goals.
3 wise men.
Well,
I'll take that.
3 wise men, 3 goals, 3 points. Have a lovely weekend.